Okay, so what I've got for you today is something very special. This custom game mode for StarCraft 2 has very quickly become the most popular custom arcade map over on the Korean server, and from what I understand, it's gaining a lot of popularity on North America as well as Europe as we speak. Okay, apparently our Zerg here has decided to go for a 12 pool. I'll try to hurry up with my introduction, okay? The game mode is called StarCraft Evolution Complete, or SC Evo for short. And the concept is pretty straightforward. The one player in the game is going to be playing StarCraft 2. The other player will be playing StarCraft Brood War instead. Now, of course, this is played in the StarCraft 2 engine, so at the very least, Protoss is going to have a slightly easier time, but he will still have to figure out that this is indeed a 12 pool from the Zerg. Playing right here in the bottom left-hand corner on a map called Newkirk Precinct. We're looking at the main nexus of none other than MC, the boss toss himself. He's gonna be playing with the Brood War units. His opponent, though, in the opposite corner, or I guess the bottom right-hand corner, because this map actually, has bottom left going up against bottom right. Playing with the StarCraft 2 units and going for a early game 12 pool. We're looking at a barcode Zerg. I've been trying to figure out who this is, but all I found out is that this is a Grandmaster Zerg player from the Korean server. So certainly somebody who's going to be very good at the game. Maybe we can take some educated guesses as this game goes on, but for now, he will be known as the Korean Zerg player who's currently in Grandmaster League playing under a barcode nickname. Alright, now here's the problem, of course, for MC. He's playing Brood War units, so he does not have Chrono Boost. He doesn't have Adepts. He's gonna have to, I guess, defend with a Forge into a Photon Cannon, because that's really the only easy way that he can defend against this early game Zerg rush. Obviously, Brood War, it works out very differently. One of the reasons why it plays so differently is that, well, the pathing in that game is not quite as crisp, to put it lightly, as it is in StarCraft 2. Obviously, you have a very limited unit selection count as well, and there's all sorts of limitations. I can imagine because of that, the balance of this game mode is gonna be a little, well, maybe I know it's been around for a little while at this point, so maybe it's not so bad, but I can imagine it could get a little bit messy. This Zealot, though, having a grand old time. Oh, with the Brood War sound effects, too. Yeah! That makes me nostalgic. Anyways, Photon Cannon is done, and it looks like MC indeed will be okay. Now, it has been a little while for me personally too, since I've really actively followed StarCraft Brood War, so this will be a nice refresher for me as well. Hopefully I can remember all of the unit names and all of the ability names and all of the upgrades and all that. If I end up forgetting something, I guess, with the magic of video editing, I can just edit it out of the video, and I can still, at least pretend that I'm very smart. And that is ultimately what we are going for. Now, if you enjoy these sort of games, by the way, I know that generally speaking, a lot of people do enjoy watching these weird, wacky mods. Let me know by hitting that like button down below. I am more than interested in casting more of these games. I mean, I'm assuming at the very least this is gonna be a bit of a banger, but let me know what your thoughts are as well by hitting either, I guess, the like button or the dislike button, guilt free. So, Cybercore here is finally building for MC. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we do have an expansion as well on the low ground. Quick double gas taken here by the Zerg. Yeah, so he is going to be going into a very fast lair, especially considering that this game started off with a 12 pool. Now, by the way, to clarify, there have been a couple of creative liberties, I guess is what we can call them. Obviously, Protoss here started off with 12 workers, as we have a Citadel of Adun. Basically the Brood War equivalent of a Twilight console. Anyways, obviously the Protoss here, they have been, well, blessed with 12 starting workers as well. They've got themselves some better pathing and all the rest of it. You do have to make some concessions in order to make this work properly. But from what I understand, actually, the game mode has been, very, very popular. And apparently it's been working out very nicely too with some very exciting games. This one, apparently, it's been recommended to me a couple of times. This one, apparently, is an absolute banger. So we're gonna find out together. The Zealots are going across the map. Obviously, the unit scaling is very different as well in Brood War. It's a bit difficult to really tell how that's going to favor people or players in general. But for example, StarCraft 1 Lings always felt 10 times more powerful than StarCraft 2 Zerglings. StarCraft 2 Zerglings are very swarmy. The StarCraft 1 ones, I mean, they still are, but to a lesser extent. Leg enhancements coming up right here for the Zealots. That is that movement speed improvement for them, but at this point in time, they don't yet have it. I think that Zerg is going to be able to push this all away for now, but you can tell here that these units already trade differently than the StarCraft 2 Zealots would have in that exact same fight. No link speed though for the Zerg 2 play, or the StarCraft 2 Zerg player. There you go. This is going to get very confusing for me too, as he's decided to go into a very quick lair after the 12 pool and now into a Spire. I do quite like that here though from the Zerg, because obviously, yeah, he knows he's been forcing out Zealots. He knows that the odds of the opponent going into the Citadel of Adun are pretty big off of this too, and well, at that point there won't be a lot of anti-air. We do have a Templar archive, so you may be a little bit confused as to why we have a bunch of Dark Templar on the production tab. Well, in Brood War, the Templar archives unlocks both High Templar as well as Dark Templar. Apparently they got into a bit of an argument over the course of StarCraft 2, and they decided to split up into different structures, but not quite the case. All right, my first caster skill check. I am fairly sure that this is Maelstrom. It should be Maelstrom, especially now with a Dark Archon being morphed in as well. So those Dark Templar, they get to merge together into a unit that we don't have in StarCraft 2 multiplayer called the Dark Archon. It's exclusively a spellcaster, and Maelstrom is very nice because it allows the unit to temporarily freeze opposing units in a little area of effect. So now that the Mutas get scouted here too, you can imagine that that indeed is going to be a very handy tool here for MC. Zealots are getting a bit of work done though. Not a whole lot of drones killed, but I guess there weren't a ton of drones here in the first place. Zealots actually do pack quite the punch. It's trying to hide one of the Zealots, but that is not going to happen. High Templar coming up too. Obviously, it can still make Archons. I'm assuming these two, yep, they will indeed join together as one permanently. No warp gate research in StarCraft 1. So you're gonna have to continuously produce out of these gateways as if they are, well, I guess barracks or factories, or I guess for Protoss robo facilities. You have to continuously produce out of them. It was, by the way, Maelstrom, so it should affect the Mutas. I actually kind of like the idea here. Storm on the back of this too. High Templar are coming. Archon trying its best. Maelstrom, there we go. Mutas here temporarily confused up in the air, but it's still only one Archon. Yeah, no, the idea is good. It's just that there wasn't enough. There wasn't quite enough, but apparently our Zerg player has been scared away for the time being, knowing very well that there's likely going to be some more anti-air available here in a moment. Okay. No third hatchery taken here though by the Zerg yet. He's thinking about it right now, but he's been, forced to play very defensively. Load of spine crawlers there because of all those Zealots that have been roaming the map. Ultimately though, Roaches will get their Roach speed upgrade. +1 missile is finishing up too, in about a minute or so from now, so I think Zerg should be able to transition here away relatively easily. Yeah, the Maelstrom ability is something that you can't really underestimate too much. It's funny to see it work out against StarCraft 2 Mutas, but still a very powerful tool here for sure. Sonic Storm has been researched. Obviously in StarCraft 2 you do have smart casting. Ooh, Kydarian Amulet, that's the starting energy for High Templar, so apparently MC wants to go for a lot more Templar than just the ones that he's got right now, because it's only a starting energy improvement. Anyways, can we see some Storm? There it is! Oh my lord, that looks amazing! Maelstrom into Sonic Storm, my god, that was one of the coolest. I want to see that animation again. I'm sure we're gonna get more. I like that animation better than the StarCraft 2 animation, actually. That's sick. Or maybe it's the novelty here. I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, we're probably gonna see more of it as well throughout this game. But so far, MC using those Dark Archons and those High Templar together very, very nicely. On the horizon though, Lurkers are coming. We don't have a hive or anything yet, so that is something we will have to see from the Zerg eventually. Obviously, this has been a low eco game though for both players, and he's a little afraid of a big attack here in just a moment, and rightfully so. Having a bunch of Lurkers available is going to make life much, much easier. Okay. Nexus building over here. On the left side of the map. Zealots are trying to see if they can potentially get a bit of a snipe. Hello, High Templar. High Templar sneaking on the job for just a moment. Yeah, I love this move here. Oh my god, dude, that Storm animation is sick. Maelstrom also not bad though, eh? Sadly here for MC, he doesn't have a proper follow-up because Almost all of the zealots have been sent towards the other side. Spinecrawlers have repositioned themselves from the high ground down to the low ground. And now the lurkers are gonna be able to burrow in this location. And that should shut down most of the aggression here from our Protoss. Now, we have the Singularity Charge, Singularity Spike, whatever it's called. It's a Dragoon ranged upgrade. Dragoons, of course, a very powerful tool, especially with proper pathing. One of the most clumsy units in StarCraft 1. I can imagine they're gonna be, they may need to, maybe they've already had it, but they certainly may need a couple of balance adjustments for them to be, Singularity Charge, there it is. But for them to be reasonable in StarCraft 2, because in StarCraft Brood War, these units are insane. It's just that they don't really listen to you if you don't properly control you. Or if you don't properly control them, because sometimes you give them a command and they literally walk to the opposite side of the map. That's usually not quite what you're aiming for. Okay, roaches run away. Zealots, though, yeah, a little late to the party, because 6 probes have already gone down. And we're setting ourselves up for a nice little macro game. Tempo here, by the way, very different than you would ordinarily see in StarCraft 2, but it is quite reminiscent, actually, of StarCraft Brood War. I've always been impressed with how good StarCraft 1 actually is. Maybe it shouldn't be so much as a surprise, but if you look at like all of the developments over the years with RTS in general, StarCraft Brood War nailed all of the basics incredibly well, and a lot of people still consider it to be the GOAT when it comes to real-time strategy, and I don't entirely disagree. For example, a lot of people will say that StarCraft 2's fights are much too quick. Fair enough, right? Your units are under attack. Well, by the time you hear that command, your units are probably already dead. Warcraft 3, however, maybe Age of Empires, considered to be quite a slow game. Brood War is kind of like the perfect middle ground in many ways. The unit design is very iconic. I think the 3 races concept is also great. I think just in general, it's a really good game. So, I'm not surprised to see that this mod has been as popular as it's been over the last couple of weeks. So we have an observatory coming up. We also do have the Templar Archives researching here. I guess this is the energy upgrade for the Dark Archon? It should be. We do have a little bit more confusion over there too. Roaches and Hydras trying to protect this base on the right side. So we do have lurkers into a greater spire together. It's Argus Talisman. Yeah, that is, if I'm not mistaken, the Dark Archon. I think it's max energy, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, Ultralisk Cavern here together with a greater spire coming up for... Dude, that is a brutal animation. Apparently, though, burrowed roaches, yeah, with tunneling claws, they actually do regenerate very quickly. So, even though the animation looks cool, apparently hiding underground may just be the best thing to weather the storm. Anyways, MC trying to take more and more bases. He doesn't currently have detection nearby, because in Brood War you do need an observatory in order to actually make observers. But ultimately, it is going to show up. The observatory also does have a couple upgrades. So this is... Oh, it is not Gravitic Drive, because it's not. This is the... It looks like Gravitic Drive. It is the... I think this is the speed upgrade for the observers, which makes them like 50% faster. And then they also have a sight radius increase. That is, I think, like +2 or maybe +3 range or something along those lines. Anyways, Zerg in the meantime, taking a page out of Brood War's book here, just playing very turtly in a way. Just tons and tons of spine crawlers. I don't know if I entirely agree that this is the way that you're supposed to be playing StarCraft 2 Zerg. Makes more sense in Brood War, but anyways, this does mean that MC gets full control over all of the map if he so desires. Ultimately, though, we will see Ultras, we will see Brood Lords, we will see the proper late-game upgrades here for Zerg as well. More and more Dragoons on the production tab. They are very powerful for sure, but you do have to be quite quick here with all of your production. Obviously, in StarCraft Brood War, you also can't really select multiple structures. So usually the way that is done is by creating a camera control group, and then you quickly run back. Templar moving pretty far forward. Ooh, confusion once, or sorry, Maelstrom rather. Once again, together with that gorgeous animation. If I get any of the basics of Brood War wrong, by the way, Excuse me, but I'm pretty sure I should be correct here for the most part. It's just been a little while for me as well. Okay. Stargate coming up. Not sure even what you really want to transition into. I guess carriers are always going to be a good choice. Arbiter Tribunal coming up. Okay. So that unlocks the Arbiter. In StarCraft 2, I guess we have the Mama ship. Not quite as cool in my mind as an Arbiter, but you can make multiple Arbiters. They have Stasis, they have Recall, they've got a bunch of cool stuff. Okay. Yeah, Zerg just turtling up. Observer getting dangerously close to those Overseers. And this is honestly a pretty good opportunity, I think, here for MC to strike. Yeah, he's got an awful lot of units. He's gonna be able to shut all of this down with relative ease. Zerg has got a ton of money in the bank, by the way. Not really spending, but he doesn't have enough gas. Yeah, he's got a lot of resources here. I guess static defense would do the trick, but he really does need more gas. There is a base over here in the middle, and MC has been patrolling the map really well, trying to deny any of those outlying expansions. This is certainly a map where, without creep spread, it becomes very difficult for Zerg to take those bases, but he may just be able to corner some of this Protoss army, though. Well, I guess we'll find out. I think the Brood Lords, yeah, they can certainly be raiding some of those Brood Links from a bit of a distance. Ultra's coming up as well. Ooh, there's once again confusion. Do we have some more storms? Or confusion? It's called Maelstrom, Loko. Ay, 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 ay. Well, in case you were unfamiliar with that ability, I think this gives you all of the info you truly need. I can't get over how brutal that storm animation looks. Ay, ay, ay. 6 Dark Templar on the production tab. Arbiter coming up as well. Recalling this entire Protoss army around the map does sound like a pretty powerful move. Another hatchery will finally be taken, but it is made right under the vision of that observer. So let's see. Yeah, no, this is not gonna happen. Not gonna happen at all. Currently though, MC is quite split up. Zerg has decided to max out as well. A load of Ultras in the mix. I think Ultras are gonna be a very powerful tool though. We still don't have Link Speed. Are we going Zerging Speed after Adrenal Glands? Is that really what we're doing right now? Okay. Anyways. Dark Arc will have another ability too. And it is called a Mind Control. It allows you to permanently force one of those units from your opponent to switch side. So... I mean... he could technically steal... oh, no, this is a lot of... oh, that's a lot of good value here. Yeah, the Ultras are pretty good at weathering the storm. No Immortals, of course, available here for the Protoss player, so... yeah, those Ultras are not to be underestimated. Anyways, Mind Control can be used against the drone, so you could theoretically go ahead and make some Zerg units here of your own, too. Okay, well, those Storms are so good! My god! I mean, maybe there are no Immortals available, but these Dragoons are basically mini Immortals. Getting so much value. You love to see it. Okay. Zealot over there ends up falling. More High Templar are joining in the fray. I can't really blame them. We do have an Arbiter available too. Good old cloaking right here underneath for everybody in that circle. The Dark Archons apparently are also gonna get cloaked. The Dark Templar were double cloaked. It's even better than being regular cloaked. What happens when you multiply 2 negatives? I don't know. Anyways, nobody will ever know. That's one of the many questions that math has never answered. Hey, Swarm Host transition right now here from our Zerg. Ooh, those lurkers though. Okay. Getting a ton of value. I don't know if I like the Zerg's playstyle here all too much, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think overall this has been quite messy. Very turtly, sure, but it's not really leading to anything all too inspiring. I don't think Swarmos are that great of a choice at this point in the game, because they are so supply heavy. Usually they're an early mid-game unit, and now we're like all the way up to the ultimate Zerg units with Lurkers and Brood Lords and Ultras and all the rest of it, and now we go Swarm Host? That just feels a little bit weird to me. Apparently we're queuing up all of the Arbiter upgrades, by the way. So they have a An energy upgrade? I think one of them is the recall ability and the other one is the stasis field ability. Fairly sure those need to be researched. Anyways. Protoss army still roaming the map. We are gonna get a full split map at this rate, by the way. I wouldn't mind seeing MC taking this base too, because it's pretty obvious that our Zerg has really no intention of doing much of anything. Just macroing around or macroing up, I guess, donating some drones right now, fair enough. So what are we gonna do with all those swarm hosts? We already did rain the locust once upon a time. Yeah, he's gonna need some detection here nearby though. Oh, there is an observer actually over here on the left. Stormy boys! Ambitious Stormy boys, because they will sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Together with an Arbiter though. Okay, they are actually cloaked and they're gonna be able to get rid of some of these units quite well. There's another set of locusts flying on over, but my god, are those storms good, man. Can we do another storm? Just keep storming, yeah? I mean, we could run with the Protoss army, but apparently that's not what we like to do. Middle base now also acquired, by the way, here by the boss toss. Who's going for some armor upgrades. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Okay. The Zerg army still has to be respected, though. Sure, Protoss has got a very powerful force, but he doesn't have a lot of money. He's getting a ton of upgrades, and all of this will be great in the end, but he needs to be careful. Yeah, he does have some detection nearby. I actually don't think there's a good reason here for MC to stand and fight. He could just back off, get out of range of the Overseers, and use the Arbiter cloaking to try and stay alive. Oh my god. What the heck? 15 photon cannons on the production tab. Well, that's one way to drop your couple thousand minerals here. That does make it a little dangerous, though, because one bad Locust wave, and I think Protoss is basically dead. Photon cannons are good. Do the Brood War photon cannons differ much from the StarCraft 2 photon cannons? Not exactly sure. I don't think it really does make much of a difference. Anyways, Zerg can obviously just overwhelm you as well. He does have tons of photons. 50 photon cannons! What in the world? I know it's popular to make a lot of photon cannons in Brood War, but that really does seem a little extreme. Maybe that's the reason why we've had this late game swarm host transition, because every time the locusts are out, yeah, you can get a good bit of damage. Fight over here, by the way. Sorry, I'm gonna be backing off for just a moment. I must have missed it. Yeah. Look at the Arbiter. It has a recall available now, and that's exactly what it uses. Instant recall straight into the base right there of the opponent. Normally not something you would necessarily do like this against Zerg. Seems to be a popular thing to do against Turtle Terrans in particular, but I guess this is a Turtle Zerg, right? Can't really blame them all too much. Overseer does get nearby, but he stole the Overseer! I love that. The Dark Archon just used the mind control ability right there on the Overseer. Ultimately, though, more detection is available. We have multiple forms here. So Stasis Ward also, or Stasis Field rather, goes down on a bunch of those broods. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, ultimately, Zerg is going to be able to clean that up, but that was sick. We have a lot more Arbiters coming. Yeah, we can definitely continue that party for a little bit longer. I don't mind. Okay. It's a lot of photon cannons, man. MC desperately trying to mine as much gas as he can. I've always thought the Brood War units look really cool, but I'm not sure about these particular High Templar, man. These High Templar look really big to me. Maybe I'm crazy. They look cool when they have that little fadey ability behind them. Yeah, I think that looks kind of badass, but for some reason they could, I don't know. They look like Disney characters to me. Dude, that is so many Dark Archon. He's just stealing lurkers. Yeah, we're just stealing all the things. You know, if MC has a chance, he will certainly try to steal drones as well. That is one way, I guess, to get rid of the opponent's lurkers when the opponent plays Protoss. He's got vision all over the map, and he knows that Zerg has been turtled up for a long while. Still though, Our Grandmaster Zerg has got a good number of units. He's just stealing as much as possible, by the way. So the Archons here, they cannot actually be... they cannot actually be fighting straight up. So they don't have like an attack animation or an attack in general. They don't deal damage. Just full-on spellcasters, unlike regular Archons. Storm? Oh god. Well, that's a lot of free High Templar. Or at least it looks like it. Well, you know what? Ultras in StarCraft 2 also pretty derpy. They tend to get stuck on things as well. And our Zerg here has secured a new base now. Immediately... oh my god, really? He just queued up a gajillion Dragoons. Gajillion with a G, by the way. Clearly. No, he just queued up like 50 Dragoons, it seems. That's a lot of money down the drain. I mean, eventually, maybe some of them will be made. Can we do some more rapid firing on all of those? Okay. No, apparently we're not going to do it. Actually, I'm not exactly sure if you can even use it on Ultralisk in StarCraft 2. I don't think you can. Otherwise, he would have already done it. Yeah, I don't think you can. They have that frenzy, and in general, they have like a bunch of extra bonuses. And I'm assuming one of those bonuses is that they can't be stolen. Fleet Beacon coming up right now here too for MC, who may be thinking about going into, well, eventually some Brood Lords. I don't think it would be a bad choice. Or Brood Lords. He's going up against Brood Lords. It would be nice for him to maybe go into Carriers. Yeah? You know what? This is actually very, very effective. Every time we see a Locust Wave, it's killing a lot of stuff. And it's not like Protoss really has an army to just go and push through all of this. So even though I was questioning the transition towards those Swarm Hosts, it does work surprisingly well. There indeed are the Carriers. Or as a wise man just called them, apparently, Brood Lords? Protoss Brood Lords? It's a bit weird, eh? Okay. Stasis could be really good here. Yep. Brood Lords. They get taken out of the equation. I guess the same reason, by the way, as to why we don't see Stasis here on the Ultras is why we didn't see them getting mind controlled. Pretty sure the Ultras just are a little bit too ultra for that. That hatchery is not gonna happen. MC never took that base, by the way, over here. So that expansion is still fresh and mineable. More Stasis being used here very effectively. We have some Swarm Hosts being stolen. Ultras are gonna be able to kill their own Swarm Host. You know what? This is a powerful Protoss army, but it's mostly spellcasters, and it does make me a little hesitant. Yeah, it's very easy to overestimate how strong that army is. More and more Overseers here have indeed switched sides. Graviton Catapult coming up there as well inside of the Fleet Beacon. And Brood Lords are being stolen. I would have loved to see a little bit more of an active playstyle here, though, from our Zerg player. Even though this seems to be quite effective, it does seem to rely quite a bit as well on the opponent making some errors, and so far, MC is playing this really nicely. Look at him! He sent in an Arbiter to cloak his stolen Brood Lord. Yeah, and I mean, Stasis is still pretty darn good when it comes to shutting down that Zerg economy. Carriers are here, by the way, with that beautiful Brood War carrier skin. They look so different than the StarCraft 2 carriers, but... okay. I usually already struggle, by the way, with unit names, right? Even though I've been casting StarCraft 2 for so many years now. If this becomes a really popular mod, and I have to think about twice as many units, I can guarantee you that I'll be calling many carriers Brood Lords and vice versa. I've been calling Marauders Immortals for years. Don't know why, but I can't get it out of my head. Anyways, those Storms are so good, man. Ay, 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 ay. Well, the Ultras are also starting to plow through a lot of these Protoss units, though. Woo! Dude, those Ultras are actually much better than I thought they were gonna be. Zealots apparently are fighting Locusts right now, which is quite suboptimal. Yeah, I think ultimately all the Ultras will go down. And here's more Carriers showing up. Big Stasis here as well. Or Confusion, rather. No, Maelstrom. Case in point. Anyways, it is all being used left, right, and center. GG is called. And ultimately, it's indeed the Protoss who obtains the victory. Alright, I'm very curious in hearing your thoughts on this mod. Let me know down below in the comment section of this video. If you enjoyed watching the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, go ahead, hit the dislike button. For now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.